Why is there a book in the Bible that almost no one reads? A book that seems to repeat stories that we already know, but that hides a mystery that forever changed the way God's people saw themselves in the world. First Chronicles, a name that sounds like a bureaucratic record. But what if I told you that this book was written by someone who wanted to rewrite history, literally? Over the next half hour, you'll find out why 9 entire chapters are just names, what secret about King David was purposely omitted, and why this book was the greatest propaganda weapon ever created in the ancient world. Welcome to the book that is supposed to be boring but is absolutely fascinating. First Chronicles begins in a way that makes any modern reader close the Bible immediately. Chapter 1, verse 1. Adam, Seth, Enos. 9 chapters of genealogies, names, only names. Hundreds of them, father, son, grandson, great-grandson, tribes, clans, families. But here's the first conundrum. Why? Imagine yourself in Babylonian exile. Jerusalem was destroyed, the temple in ruins, their identity as a people erased. You spent 70 years as a slave in a foreign land, and then you come back. But what does it come back for? Broken stones, lost memories, and the question that haunts every survivor: are we still God's people? That's where the chronicler comes in, a brilliant scribe who understood something profound. If you want to rebuild a people, you first need to rebuild its memory. These names are not just names, they are proof that God's promise began with Adam, passed through Abraham, survived Egypt, conquered Canaan, and is still alive. Each name is a link in the chain, and you, exiled reader, you are in this current. You are not an accident of history, you are part of the plan. But wait, there's something strange about these genealogies. Some names have been edited. First Chronicles was probably written by Ezra, the priest scribe, and he had a mission to retell the history of Israel, but not telling the whole story, tell the right story. Compare, 2 Samuel tells us about David's affair with Bathsheba, the murder of Uriah, the rebellion of Absalom. 1 Chronicles, it does not mention any of this. David in 1 Chronicles is practically perfect. He is God's chosen king, the passionate worshipper, the temple organizer, the anointed psalmist. Is this manipulation, religious propaganda, historical censorship? No. It's something much more sophisticated. The chronicler was not writing a book of modern history. He was writing theology in narrative form. His question was not what happened, but rather, what does what happened mean? To a broken people, the message was clear. Look to David, not for your sins, but for your heart. A heart according to God, a heart that he adored, a heart that prepared the temple. And here is the deeper enigma. The chronicler is saying that the past does not define us by our failures, but by our direction. But the chronicler's silence on David's sins reveals something even more shocking about the true purpose of this book. If you read 1 Chronicles carefully, you will notice an obsession, a word that appears more than 200 times: temple, the house of God, the place of presence. Chapters 13 to 16. David brings the ark to Jerusalem. Chapter 17, David wants to build a temple. Chapters 22 to 29, David prepares everything for the temple. He gathers materials, he organizes the Levites, establishes the musicians, creates the priests' shifts. David spent more time preparing the temple than Solomon spent building it. But why is the chronicler so obsessed with this? Because, as he is writing, the second temple has just been rebuilt. It is smaller, poorer, less glorious than Solomon's, and the people are discouraged. Ezra 3:12 says, "But many of the priests, Levites, and elderly householders who had seen the ancient temple wept with a loud voice." The columnist is answering, it doesn't matter if the building is smaller. What matters is worship. What matters is the heart. Look at David. He never built the temple. God did not allow it. But David loved it. David prepared it. David gave everything he had, and God called that enough. But there's one detail at the end of the book that most people miss completely, and it changes everything about how we should read that book. Let's talk about something that seems extremely tedious, the organization of the Levites. Chapters 23 to 26. 4 whole chapters describing who does what in the temple, who carries, who sings, who guards the doors, who takes care of the treasures. Why is this in the Bible? Because the chronicler was a Levite, or he wrote for Levites. And here's the secret. First Chronicles is a manual of identity. It's not just history, it is a manual of who we are and how we should live. Think, you are a Levite who has returned from exile. His father was a Levite, his grandfather was a Levite. But you were born in Babylon. You have never served in the temple. You've never seen the rituals. Are you still a Levite? Or did it die in exile? The chronicler shouts, "You still are! Look at the list here! Your name is here! Your tribe is here! Your role is here! It's like a citizenship record book. Is your name in the book? Then you belong." And here's the beautiful part. In David's temple, everyone has a role. Not just the priests. Musicians are just as important. Doormen are essential. The treasurers, the guards, the singers, the harp players. And Chronicles is the most democratic book in the Old Testament. He says, worship is not just for the elite. It's for everyone. But we haven't reached the most shocking moment of the book yet. The one who reveals the real reason why 1 Chronicles exists. Chapter 29. King David's last speech. He's old, it's dying, and he gathers all the people. Yours, Lord, is the power, the greatness, the honor, the victory, and the majesty. For all that is in the heavens and on the earth is thine. Riches and glory come from you. Who am I and who are my people, that we should be able to give offerings willingly? David, Israel's most powerful king, says, "Who am I?" That is the heart of 1 Chronicles. All that genealogy, all that organization, all that temple care is not about our greatness. It's about the greatness of God. And then David says something that should be engraved on the heart of every believer. For all things are of you, and we have given you that which belonged to you. Everything we have came from God. Everything we give was already His. The exiled people need to hear this. They lost everything, city, temple, land, dignity. And the chronicler says, but you never had anything. Everything has always been from God. And if He gave it once, He can give it again. This is not a message of discouragement. It is a message of radical hope. And that brings us to the last and most important question about 1 Chronicles. So why does 1 Chronicles exist? We already have Samuel and Rice. Why retell the story? Because 1 Chronicles is not about information, it's about training. The chronicler was rebuilding a destroyed nation, and he knew that you don't rebuild a people only with bricks. You reconstruct with memory, with identity, with purpose. 1 Chronicles says, you are not historical accidents through genealogies. You have an inheritance through the story of David. You have a role in organizing the temple. You have a future through God's promises. And here's why this book is vital today. Have you ever felt like those exiles, missing, unconnected, questioning if God still cares? Are your promises still valid? 1 Chronicles cries out, yes, you are in history. His name is in the book. You have a role. Your worship matters. And you know what's more incredible? 1 Chronicles ends incomplete. The book ends with David dying and Solomon taking over in 1 Chronicles 29, 29, 30. But the story continues in 2 Chronicles, and then on Ezra, and then on Nehemiah. Because God's story with His people never ends. She continues, generation after generation, name after name, and you are in this story. 1 Chronicles, the forgotten book, the book of endless genealogies, the book that seemed repetitive. But in fact, it is the book that says, you belong, you matter, your worship has value. and the story is not over yet. We have given unto thee that which was already his, 1 Chronicles 29:14. Because in the end, it's not about what we build, it is about what we give back to the God who gave us everything.